The Conference on Disarmament has been very successful in the past. It has negotiated important arms control agreements like the Nonproliferation Treaty in the 1960s and later the conventions on the prohibition of chemical weapons and biological weapons. And the last big treaty which was successfully negotiated was the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty in the 1990s. Unfortunately, since then, the conference could not agree on what it calls its program of work, which means that it cannot agree on the subject matter it wants to negotiate on. There are many complex reasons for that. Some, like us and many other states, would like to negotiate a ban on the production of fissile material for nuclear weapons purposes. Others have other priorities. Others, for instance, prefer issues like arms control in space, which we also, as Germany, regard as very important. Others would like to negotiate a nuclear weapons convention altogether to prohibit the use and production and so on of nuclear weapons. And there were all kinds of linkages made over the decades, really. More recently, it is Pakistan, which is literally standing in the way. There were 2 attempts made since 2009. In 2009, a draft program of work was put on the table, and it was only Pakistan out of 65 member states of the CD which opposed the adoption and the implementation of this program of work, which would have indeed included negotiations on FMCT, as it is called, and also substantive discussions on the other issues on the agenda of the CD, like space, like negative security assurances, like nuclear disarmament in general. And again, this year, another attempt was made, and again, it was Pakistan which rejected that. That's very unfortunate. We, when I say we, I mean Germany, together with our partner, the Netherlands, have recently organized a workshop, you could say. We called it Meeting of Scientific Experts, which discussed FMCT-related issues, because we feel that we should use the time, as long as the diplomats are stuck, so to speak, to agree on a mandate for such negotiations, to deal with the issues on a more technical level. But we continue to hope that it will not take too long anymore, because one has to say that the CD is more and more in crisis as a result of this continued impasse and stalemate. So let's see. This is always an important issue in the first committee of the General Assembly of the United Nations, and we will meet again in October. There are some who say if the CD continues to be stuck, we will have to find other approaches to discuss these important arms control matters, and we will see how far we will get on that. There is an international regime in place, and that's the Non-Proliferation Treaty, which basically says that those who are bound by it, that's all states except 3, India, Israel, and Pakistan, that they have, as long as they're non-nuclear weapon states, the obligation not to build nuclear weapons, and this is of course verified by the IAEA safeguard system. Many states have also agreed to adopt the so-called additional protocol, which has even more stringent verification measures. So there are, of course, systems in place which are designed to prevent that states which have nuclear power, which develop nuclear power in the nuclear fuel cycle, could easily go into the nuclear weapons direction. But of course, we, for instance, Germany, have decided, as you know, to get out of nuclear power. We are not saying that everybody should follow us, but of course I think it is fair to say that states which do not go into the direction of nuclear power would of course find it much more difficult to go into the direction of nuclear weapons. In that sense, there is certainly a certain connection between the two. I'm always delighted to talk to young people about issues of nuclear non-proliferation, because we have, of course, had, luckily, no further use of nuclear weapons, and I do not wish to alarm anybody. But I think, let me say, I regret that compared to my own youth, I find that nowadays younger people have less of a consciousness of the dangers of nuclear weapons as it used to be some decades ago. That's not really surprising, because so far nothing has happened, so far so good. But and again, I don't want to be alarmist at all, but at the same time I think it is important to maintain a consciousness of the dangers this implies as such, because we must be aware, that's humanity in general, that the technical means exist to basically destroy this globe. Of course, there are very many mechanisms in place to make sure that nothing happens, but I think this remains a huge challenge for mankind, and we need to continue to work on that subject very seriously. My name is Hellmut Hoffman. I'm the permanent representative of Germany to the Conference on Disarmament in Geneva.